There are a lot of opinions floating around about the Common Core standards. Many people are really skeptical about this new Common Core way of doing math. Social media makes it very easy for people to spread strong opinions about what they do not understand. The people who see these standards as something negative either have misconceptions about what the standards are, have seen them very poorly implemented in schools, or erroneously equate the standards with high-stakes testing. In reality, the Common Core standards provide a consistent, clear understanding of what students are expected to learn, reflecting the knowledge and skills that all young people need for success in college and careers. Common Core standards are not a packaged curriculum. When people call something a Common Core way of doing something, they are incorrect. The standards do not tell you how to teach anything, only what we want students to be able to do. The order of the domains and standards within a grade level isn't a suggestion about what order to teach anything either. When people call the standards a one-size-fits-all approach, they likely have not read them. The standards actually promote the use of multiple approaches to solving problems to meet the needs of more students and to deepen mathematical understanding. Some of the alternative methods you will learn this semester are not meant to be the primary method of solving, but rather are part of the learning process. Students should be able to choose what method works best for them. That's far from a one-size-fits-all approach. "42 states have adopted the Common Core curriculum for a good reason. The others have likely not adopted them or revoked their adoption because of public perception. These states still have math standards and still have tests to evaluate them. In fact, those math standards are surprisingly similar to the Common Core standards. So when people complain about the standards, they are really complaining about the pressure put on teachers today to improve student performance and the climate of high-stakes testing. Remember, standards are your goals, not how you teach or assess." From a special education lens, something else to consider is that the Common Core standards are not a replacement for IEPs. Students with disabilities are still accountable for these standards, but since the standards aren't a curriculum, we still need to develop appropriate instructional plans and accommodations for students with disabilities based on individual strengths and needs. NCTM and Common Core standards are both rigorous with a similar focus. The Common Core state standards provide more detailed expectations with slightly different timelines for mathematical milestones at the elementary grades. In Illinois, we follow Common Core standards, but the NCTM standards are an excellent resource. In fact, in their position statement, NCTM wrote, "The widespread adoption of the Common Core state standards for mathematics presents an unprecedented opportunity for systematic improvement in mathematics education in the United States." They also remind us that in adopting the standards alone won't lead to this improvement. We also need ongoing professional development, ample funding, research on matching assessments to the standard, and most importantly, time for implementing well. Let's start by learning about the key shifts of the Common Core state standards on our math curriculum. The first shift is called focus. The Common Core standards for math have a greater focus on fewer topics in math. This means they narrow and deepen the curriculum. The second shift, coherence, links topics and thinking across grade levels. This means students will apply and extend previous understanding year after year. Some major topics have become supporting topics and are integrated throughout the curriculum instead of being thought of as a standalone topic. Examples of this are word problems and data analysis. There are two types of alignment for the standards in terms of coherence. The first is horizontal alignment, meaning how the different standards at the same grade level work together to build conceptual understanding. The second, vertical alignment, is how the same or similar standards develops over time across grade levels. Both forms of alignment are essential parts of the coherence shift. The third shift is rigor. This shift emphasizes the need for students to pursue conceptual understanding, procedural skills and fluency, and real-world application with equal intensity. You'll see my use of this image for mathematical domains throughout the semester. It's important that you understand how to read the standards. There are multiple levels of organization. The K through 8 standards are organized by grade level. Within each grade level, you will see domains, clusters, and individual standards. Here's a general K through 8 scope and sequence by math domain. This will give you an overview of the years in which these domains are in emphasis. A major focus in first and second grade is addition and subtraction and concepts of our base 10 number system. Prerequisite counting and very simple addition and subtraction with numbers less than 5 are part of the kindergarten standards. By third and fourth grade, operations focus towards multiplication and division. Basic concept of multiplication with arrays begins in third grade, and multiplication and division of multi-digit numbers begins in fourth. In third grade, students are introduced to the concept of fractions, specifically the unit fraction, which means a 1 is in the numerator. These concepts are developed more in fourth and fifth grade, with the addition of decimal representations of rational numbers in fifth grade. If you notice, geometry is part of the curriculum in all grades K through 8. There are some domains that aren't introduced until sixth grade, like ratios and proportions, expressions, statistics, etc. The concepts of functions doesn't emerge until eighth grade. This doesn't mean that the earlier standards do not help build the foundational understanding for these concepts, though. For example, a foundational domain for expressions and equations is operations and algebraic thinking. Both of these are the foundations for algebra. So what happens after 8th grade with the standards? High school standards are not separated by grade level. Instead, they are organized by categories like algebra, functions, geometry, statistics, and probability. One reason why these aren't divided into grade levels is because of the way many schools differentiate math programs at this level. In the U.S., we tend to use the traditional approach or pathway that consists of 2 algebra courses and a geometry course with some data, probability, and statistics included in each course. Internationally, a more typical approach is the integrated pathway that consists of a sequence of 3 courses, each of which includes number, algebra, geometry, probability, and statistics. There is a great app you can use as a quick reference for the standards. You can search by keyword as well, which might be helpful when aligning your lessons to the standards. You will see that you will have an option between the traditional and the integrated pathways when you select math. The standards are the same, the only difference is in the way that they are organized. I recommend selecting the traditional option since that is what we use most often in this country. The language used in the Common Core math standards can be confusing. There are many great documents of unpacked or decoded standards that can help make sure you understand what they mean. An unpacked standard helps you to interpret the standards and gives examples of what students should be able to do if they meet the standard. I recommend keeping these resources handy when lesson planning.